What's up, everybody? If you want to join the greatest online Star Wars community, the Fandom Menace, make sure you hit that subscribe button before today's video starts, so you don't miss out on any updates and you're always the first to know when our newest videos go live.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Hey kids, you want to see something that doesn't age well?
Yeah, I mean, Josh is a great guy, and Zach picked a good person to come in and clean up and finish up for him.
Ooh, no. Hey folks, welcome to World Class Bullshitters. I'm your host Jeff, and today we're going to talk about a little controversy. It's always sweet when a hypocrite gets what's coming to them. Over the last few days, we've heard about Ray Fisher's dissatisfaction with his time on Justice League after Joss Whedon took over for Zack Snyder. On Monday, a tweet popped up from Ray Fisher, the actor who played Cyborg, saying, "I'd like to forcefully retract every bit of this statement." Then the video we started out with plays underneath. At first, it was just a tweet that people could look into with very little context, but now Ray Fisher has followed up, and it's not too complimentary for Joss Whedon. Ray Fisher accuses Joss Whedon of abusive, unprofessional behavior on Justice League set. Actor Ray Fisher accused director Joss Whedon of gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable behavior on the set of the 2017 film Justice League in a tweet that quickly went viral on Wednesday. Fisher also claimed in his tweet on Wednesday that former Warner Bros. Co-president John Berg and former DC Entertainment president, chief creative officer Jeff Johns both enabled Whedon's alleged behavior on Justice League. Berg and Johns also served as producer on Justice League, and the film's poor performance was a factor in both executives exiting their positions leading the DC film unit at the studio. Whedon had no comment. A representative for Warner Bros. Did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Whedon, the director of Marvel Studios' blockbuster superhero movies The Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, took over directing duties for extensive additional photography on the DC Comics adaptation from Zack Snyder after Snyder left the project due to a death in his family. Fisher played the cybernetic superhero Cyborg in the film alongside Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Ben Affleck's Batman, Henry Cavill's Superman, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and Ezra Miller's The Flash. That guy sucks. The resulting film received mixed to negative reviews and grossed a disappointing $657 million worldwide. More importantly, the tonal mix of Snyder and Whedon's sensibilities led many fans to see the film as an unacceptable compromise of Snyder's true vision. That led to a years-long grassroots campaign to release the Snyder Cut of Justice League, which ultimately was successful. Snyder announced in May that his cut of the film will debut on HBO Max in 2021. Fisher hinted at friction with Whedon earlier this week when he tweeted a clip from Justice League panel at the 2017 San Diego Comic-Con in which he praised the filmmaker as a great guy and that Snyder picked a good person to come in and clean up and finish up for him. "I'd like to take a moment to forcefully retract every bit of this statement," Fisher tweeted. Now, if this is true, this is very disappointing. The geek community used to raise up Whedon as the guy that put women first, wrote them as competent and powerful, the guy who perfected the ensemble cast, the guy who fans looked up to. Apparently, that's all bullshit, and the guy's just as terrible as everyone else. You know, looking at this Variety article, it makes me wonder what else happened on set and what else was enabled. But I want to find out more. What about Gal Gadot? What about other actors? Do you think if Gal Gadot had any sort of issues on set that she's going to bring them out now as we're waiting for the release of Wonder Woman 84? Probably not. And if anything, Warner Bros. Is going to try to keep this quiet because it might kill some of the goodwill for the Justice League Snyder Cut, which will eventually show up on HBO Max. And if that fails, well, all these DC plans they had, well, they're gone. Piousness is the worst. The holier-than-thou mentality pisses me off the most because you're not practicing what you preach. Don't tell me one thing, chastise me for not living the way you claim to do, and then do the exact opposite thing. It's hypocritical. It's just like these companies that want to look so virtuous by doing the right thing certain months of the year, but switch back to business as usual on July 1st. In reality, it's just a marketing ploy, which I would respect a whole hell of a lot more if they were honest. But it's only about image to these people. Joss Whedon, the self-proclaimed feminist, is just like those companies. He's only worried about his image. He'll work with people like Anita Sarkeesian and Feminist Frequency to look a certain way publicly, but in real life, he's just another dude. Flaws and all. Bounding Into Comics covered the Ray Fisher story before Variety broke it, but their story went a little deeper to help us understand what Joss Whedon is really like. They say, Fisher is not the only person to make accusations against the Avengers and Justice League director. Whedon's ex-wife, Kai Cole, penned an opinion piece in The Wrap describing Whedon as a hypocrite preaching feminist ideals. Cole claimed that after their marriage ended, Whedon confessed to him that he used to use his position on Buffy the Vampire Slayer to have numerous affairs. In one communique, he wrote, "When I was running Buffy, I was surrounded by beautiful, needy, aggressive young women. I felt like I had a disease, like something from a Greek myth. Suddenly, I'm a powerful producer, and the world is laid out at my feet, and I can't touch it." She then detailed that he did touch it. She wrote, "Joss admitted to me that for the next decade and a half, he had multiple affairs and had a number of inappropriate emotional ones that he had with actresses, co-workers, fans, and friends, while he stayed married to me." Cole then added that Whedon told her, I let myself love you. I stopped worrying about the contradiction. As a guilty man, I knew the only way to hide was to act as though I was living righteous. And as a husband, I wanted to be with you like we had been. I lived 2 lives. In fact, she goes on to claim that Whedon went on to describe that his behavior was normal in Hollywood. In many ways, I was the height of normal in this culture. We're taught to be providers and companions, and at the same time to conquer and acquire, specifically sexually, and I was pulling off both. Cole concluded her article writing, I want to let women know that he is not who he pretends to be. I want the people who worship him to know that he is human, and that the organizations giving him awards for his feminist works to think twice in the future about honoring a man who does not practice what he preaches. Again, everybody loves a good dumpster fire. This isn't mudslinging, it's clarification. Imagine this as a court case and Joss Whedon's ex-wife is a character witness. She's had one-on-one interactions with him, just like Ray Fisher, and she knows better than any third-party account. If cancel culture was a thing in 2017, Joss would be whisked away faster than you can say Buffy, but he dodged that reactionary shitstorm by a couple years. That's not to say there wasn't outrage from left-leaning entertainment sites like Vox. In 2015, articles like this one were calling for his head. If Whedon was still relevant, I'm afraid to see what they'd be saying now. That being said, I don't think what goes on between consenting adults should result in cancellation. Back to the Justice League controversy. Bounding into Comics had a little more support for actor Ray Fisher's comment. Fisher's comments also would appear to support a rumor back in April that Jeff Johns was instrumental in bringing Joss Whedon on board of Justice League and interfering with Zack Snyder's original vision for the film. That rumor came from Grace Randolph. She stated, in fact, I can tell you, Johns is pretty much the one who is responsible for Zack Snyder getting replaced by Joss Whedon. She added, he did it behind his back. That's all I'll tell you today. It's really bad. So it sounds like Justice League was a nightmare to work on, and the end result shows that. I always assumed that Warner Brothers wanted Whedon on the picture because of his successful work on the Avengers. That film was the blueprint for what Warner Brothers was trying to do with their DC properties. How do you mimic that success? Get the guy who made that film to finish yours. But that right there was the problem. Justice League was mostly directed by Zack Snyder, so coming in at 0 hour to make it more like the Avengers didn't mesh well. And that's where the Snyder Cut will be interesting, because we'll see how much of Justice League's failures can be blamed on Joss Whedon. It's pretty crappy that Ray Fisher was treated poorly on set. I even hate the fact that other people enabled it. Again, it makes me wonder what else was going on behind the scenes. I don't say that in a laughing matter. I'm curious. Hollywood is a dark, demented, twisted place. Look at all that Weinstein crap that took decades to get resolved. Now, I'm not making any accusations like that, but I'm just wondering, what did Ray Fisher go through that he would tweet so publicly about this stuff? Especially right now, when he might have a new job if the Justice League Snyder Cut takes off and is very successful. Now, in regards to Ray Fisher, I thought he was fine as Cyborg. I really dug his voice, and I would have liked to have seen more of him. Vic Stone's never been a favorite of mine, but he's better whenever the hell they call the Flash these days. If more comes out about Joss Whedon, it will paint a clearer picture about what went on behind the scenes with Justice League. Egos, drama, abuse, a great story all these things make. Too bad none of those things got on screen. It would have made a hell of a picture. So folks, this is breaking news. It just came out a few hours ago, and I want to know what you think about it. We covered it the other night on Fandom Menace Tonight, where we discussed Ray Fisher's comments, and back then, 2 whole days ago, they seemed very benign, and no one really seemed to care too much. Everyone was focused on what Anthony Mackie was saying, and the multitude of other Last of Us 2 news, and all the other crap that's going on in the world today. But there's more to this story now, and it gets juicier by the minute. Hopefully this doesn't get just brushed under the rug due to the 4th of July weekend, and people really pay close attention to this. Because if we want to make things better in Hollywood for all these people, well, we gotta start right now, right? There's a lot of hypocrisy is what I'm trying to get at. So folks, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. And if you really like this, hit subscribe. There's tons of content here on this channel. As I said, we're up a couple thousand over the last few weeks, which is awesome. I'd like to thank and welcome every new person to the channel. You really make this awesome, and it's so much fun that our voices carry so far, and it's all because of you. So if you really want to help us out and support us even more, we have Patreon. $1 a month goes a long way, but $5, which is only 17 cents a day, goes even further. And we have a couple new things we're working on behind the scenes. Because there's not going to be a sports season this year, we decided that we're going to do a lot of sports content over on Patreon. We're going to talk about sports? No, we're going to be talking about sports movies. So we're going to watch stuff like Space Jam and Happy Gilmore and all the fun stuff. Slapshot, Caddyshack, all sorts of stuff like that. So if you like those types of films, we'll be starting those in the next few weeks, so get involved with that. We also have video commentaries. You can watch the Indiana Jones trilogy along with us, and much, much more. But if you can't afford that, just keep watching us on YouTube. We greatly appreciate all that you do for us. So folks, I'm gonna head on out. I got a couple videos coming out over the next few days. They're gonna be a little different. I'm going home to visit my mom because it's her birthday. And due to COVID-19, I wasn't able to see her the last few times, and it kind of sucked. So I really owe her this one. Plus, she's a great lady and she deserved it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have some videos that'll be a little lighter on the visuals, but the same level of writing and quality content, just with a little less pizzazz, if you will. But all I ask is that you guys come back after the 4th of July break, and we'll get right back to the way we do things. But thank you in advance for understanding, and as always, folks, be excellent to each other.